Yep.
All right, we'll call to order the regular Board of Education meeting scheduled for November 10th. First thing we need to do is, since August isn't here, is to approve Jacqueline as the board clerk. So I move to make Jacqueline Fitzmyer the board clerk for tonight's meeting. Second. All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Then on the agenda is that I move to approve the agenda with the addition of a 13.2 executive session for student matters. Second, okay, all those in favor? Motion carries 0. We'll do pledge of allegiance.
Liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You'll have the monthly messenger and after they printed out, we got you some information there. Recognition of guests, thank everybody in attendance and those watching on the video. Appreciate everyone who participates in our board meetings. And again, you know, they're on there once they're reported for people to go back and watch again or those who miss them. With that, we'll go to yes, with that, the children video, correct? What's that?
Did you check and see?
There's no one.
Okay, yeah, there wasn't anybody on this one, so. Yeah, she sure. Okay, so on consent agenda, I've just got a couple of questions. One is, our attendance or comments, attendance has been good still, but the one that doesn't have any attendance is a ministry. Okay, so that's all what everybody else does. I'd like to have that. I think that's good. They're all over 90 attendance wise. I think it's all going good on that. And then somebody grant. And on the grant is that so the first one, like the culinary grant, is there a set dollar amount to that?
The beef one, the beef one.
Yeah.
I'm not certain, but we've had them before. We had them in the fax program up at the middle school and there was, I can't remember if it was 1,000 to 2,000, but there is a set limit. And you don't just get the cash. Typically you have to make the purchase and get reimbursed type of on those fundraisers because they're not just going to give it to you unless you actually could, you know, purchase the proteins.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the volleyball one, it's said in there, help with the cost of removing existing net system. What is that?
They want to give, if they can get enough funds, because I did ask about that one, to not use the ones coming down from the ceiling and be able to have them just onto the floor, like they have the one right now. If they wanted to add a second one
I
instead.
thought we did something with that when we did the advertising.
Yes, and that gives them one. This is so they could potentially have a second one, and I don't know enough about volleyball to know if it's the shift or what, but it's to stop using the ones out of the ceiling.
I hope we look at before we just remove those, because they could be handled by somebody else.
Correct.
Yeah. The ones coming in and out of the ceiling, you know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
and I know that'll have to come before the board later on. I just seen that as on the grant, so I was just wondering about that.
So that would eliminate us having to figure out how to maintain those motors then too, right? Or we'd still have them for the basketball goals.
Right, but it's just for the net, so for the volleyball net.
One less motor.
And it's a dream. It's not, you know.
Sure. Okay, but that's all.
Middle school's absenteeism 6%.
Okay.
On the donation list, we had BHS here last month, so they're gonna donate some stuff.
Curfew.
But it wasn't on last month, it's not on this month. If we're gonna accept anything as a donation, we need to have a dollar and out and what it is.
There's a bill from her for 6,000. That's it. That was the retainage we were holding back until it was done. So that's the final bill. That's good.
Jeff, you said the curtain donation.
Well, they stood up here and said they were donating some curtains that weren't replaced.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna donate, they need to say what it is and put a dollar amount to it so that we can accept it as a donation. Actually, they shouldn't do anything until we accept it. I have a feeling it's already done, so.
Rather they donate than us pay for them. So,
Well, it's still gotta go through the process, so.
Anything else on consent, Jim?
Last month, which I won't check someone knows answer, but on our donations, last month, we accepted roughly 18,000. But on our treasurer statement this month, they said we brought in 104,000 in donation. I'm just trying to figure out
It's
the change.
the Patterson grant. We got our payment for the Patterson grant
Okay,
and it all funnels through the same Fund 35.
gotcha.
We received that in October.
Would that be a donation or would that be a write-off for them?
I mean, you mean.
On the
it's like
Patterson
VHS,
grant?
No, on the curtains, I'm back to the curtain. I don't know if that's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we're just gonna write
They
it
said
off.
they said they were gonna donate it,
So
so.
if you
I don't-
donate it, then they can claim it as a.
Either way.
Either way,
It's still, we got, if we're getting something for free and somebody's doing it for us, we need to. It needs to have a dollar amount put to it, and we have to accept it. I would think.
It wasn't on the
Was it-
scope, that's.
It wasn't
it
on the
wasn't
scope of
on
the
the
work.
show,
That's
It was in
why,
addition to the scope.
so then we would need something
Yeah,
to clarify.
I would
that.
think.
yeah, that was the problem, because it wasn't on the scope, so
Yeah,
they done that, so,
okay.
yeah. And I don't know how long it takes to get them, because I suppose they had to order them, you know, and so, but
Right.
yeah, we need to go through the proper process
Yeah, yeah.
to do that.
Yep.
Any other questions?
On the Y-Links, that's a yearly donation from the Kansas Department of Aging and Disability.
It is right now, yeah. And since, I mean, the grant that funnels a lot of that through is held through county health. So an example would be if they were helping pay for like a fifth quarter. And we knew that evening was gonna cost $200 to get the pizza or whatever. We would ask them to make a donation to that. To that account, so we can pay for that too. So those kind of things I think you'll see coming in when they have events or.
Anything else? Not I go to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
And second, any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. All right. The reports, board reports and quasi board comments.
I got a few. First one's from the parent perspective. The seventh grade teachers have a Facebook page that they invited us all to start the year out. And I love the updates and the reminders and so like one of them prompted us to ask our student about this study, the thing that they were studying for. And I asked my middle schooler to show me the game he was playing to study, and it was great. It was engaging. It was fun. It was tough questions. I wish I would have had that when I was little. And so I just wanted to really say kudos to, I believe it was Miss Melius that did that, and to all the teachers who go above and beyond to find ways, creative ways to engage kids where they're at. It's pretty cool to see. Secondly, we celebrate our state medalists next month, but I want to call attention to our high school athletes who've earned all league honors. In volleyball, we have Rami, Lily, Racy, and Addie. In cross country, we have Kylie, Janae, Raylyn, Justice, and Ian. For tennis, we have Annalie, Avery, Taylor, and Treya. And we don't have football yet. And so both schools are supposed to give those to me for next month. And then congrats to the students for district choir and band. For choir, we have Savannah, Madeline, Shelby, Imogene, and Janae. I can send these to you, Jacqueline, so you're not trying to type them.
On summer.
Band, Ella, Clara, Ellen, Miller, Morgan, Samuel, Callan, and alternates Jeanette, Kayla, and Grayson. So that's pretty impressive, outstanding list for our high schoolers. So congrats to them. I was looking for ethics guidelines, and I saw that a couple of districts have a policy for this, but reached out to KSB, and they do, if you want to pass them around. They don't recommend this as a policy, but as an educational tool. It's kind of a summary of what we all learned when we went through the school board training that they provided. And I thought it might be good for everyone to get a refreshed copy. I've asked them to put it in the notes so that y'all can access it off the exec comments after the meeting. But there's a lot of things in here that I think we need reminded that what really is good ethics as a school board member. And I hope that you would take a minute or two to actually read through this, and I won't read all of them, but I do like the hear complaints as a trier of fact or a tribunal that are not first submitted through the proper complaint channels or a chain of command. Announce future action before the proposition has been discussed. Those are things that we should not do. We should represent the board responsibly. Confine board actions to policymaking, personnel, expenditure of funds, planning and evaluation, and recognize that the superintendent, not the board, is responsible for day-to-day administration of the school. Recognize that the board functions only as a board through duly adopted policies and actions, that individual board members have no authority to act on behalf of the district or the board. And number 5 on the bottom is my favorite: assure the opportunity to high quality education for every student, because that really should be our focus. So I hope this is just a little reminder and gut check that this is what the school board is supposed to do. And then lastly, just for the patrons that are listening, I'm asking them to please stop blind carbon copying us on emails. It puts us at high risk of a Open Meetings Act violation. We are not allowed to communicate as a group outside of this if there's more than 4 of us. So when you blind copy all of the board, if we replied all to that, then that would make us in violation. And I really don't want to pay the fines associated to that. So feel free to send information to us individually. Feel free to send it to the superintendent and ask him to send it out to us, but don't blind carbon copy the board. I'd appreciate it. All we got.
Anybody else?
Yeah, yes, I'd like to bring up a shout out to our Wakefield staff and students for their professional integrity and knowledge during Senator Moran's district visit. I heard a lot of good feedback, a lot of good compliments anyway from the visit. So thank you. Also, congratulations to Marcy Schooley and Carrie Butler for District Teachers of the Year Award. And also Nick Brummets Award for Kansas School Counselors of the Year. And also a thank you to our Clay County Coalition, our Rex Theater, and Clay County Health Department for hosting the October community event. Can't look away, the case against social media. Wife and I was very privileged to be able to attend, and it was very sobering and eye-opening experience to see exactly what is going on behind the scenes. So thank you.
Anyone else? Move on. Joy, your report, you ready to hear?
You just want me to sit here?
Oh, stand up. Get up.
Okay, most of you know, I'm Joy Lynn and I'm the Director of Food Service. And we got a little change this year. It happened in October. We moved to a different region. We are now in the Midwest region, which just really what that did was just change like my director and our chefs and dietitians. We just got some new people. Amy Kerrigan on the far right. She's the area director. She would have been here this evening, but there was another board meeting in Kansas that she had already committed to. So I'm sure she'll be here. She's going to be here
I
tomorrow.
don't know why their faces aren't showing up in the little circles. Because they did on what you sent me. But I apologize.
It's me and Michaela are up there. That's
Yeah, that's who we see daily, so there we go.
okay. So you can go ahead.
Oh.
This is just a short agenda about our team engagement and our meal count comparison, our culinary support and our student staff engagement. This was our second annual Pietique parade. We entered a float. We had a lot of fun. We might learn from one year to the next, some ways of not letting everything blow before we get downtown, but we better stay in the kitchen maybe. These are our meal count comparisons. As you can see, in 21 and 22, that's when meals were still free for all, and it's a lot different. I was visiting with Michaela today. Being that our student count is down, our enrollment, we still are beating our daily average from last year. So I feel, and it's going up. I know Michaela said we've had some record highs at high school and a couple in Wakefield. So even though we're down on students. Discovery Kitchen, we're still doing that. That's Energy Bites we did in Wakefield this year. And this is what's new. We started Waffle Wednesday as a breakfast item for the high school and middle school, and we'll see how that goes. And we'll see if we can start maybe doing that. We'll go to Wakefield and then we did the staff meals starting this year. And then the little one on the right down below is the monitors at the high school, our menu monitors. I don't know if anybody's been up there to see, but it's hooked up to the NutriSlice. And so our menus roll in every day of what's gonna be on the menu for that day.
Do they have any questions at all?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Brett, your report?
Listed out some upcoming projects again, like we talked about next month. When Andrea gets back, we'll clean those up and make sure those RFPs get out, let them run for a month or so, and then hopefully get back for your approval in the next month or two. We did get a 3-3 vote to disorganize, and so it's my understanding that the state has, it was said it has to be canvassed. I'm not sure that I know what that exactly means, but it's supposed to be on the 17th, and then I believe you will have to take formal action in December to formally accept the new boundaries, I guess. Something that we are digging into too, because we are added boundaries. I don't know the answer to this, but be thinking about it. I think we'll have to somehow say what ward. Dusty, this is a topic on my list to talk to you about, but I don't know if there's anything formal we'll need to do to be able to do that too. So be thinking of that. We'll give you a heads up next month. I don't think it's anything that has to happen right away, but
That way it would go into.
right. Yeah. And so it was something some of the patrons talked about a little bit when we were down there for some of the meetings. And again, I haven't dug into it yet, but I do believe you'll have to formally accept, and then once all 5 boards would formally accept, in theory, then I think all those go to the state board, and then the state board would vote to officially approve that, and then I think start the year next year that way. So,
To your knowledge, is all the other districts hanging in there, so.
I haven't heard anything different, but so I think they're all good. Yeah.
On the sound system, the $15,000 one, is that for the middle school? Or was that for?
Yeah, that was in our capital outlay plan, and yeah, that one. It's in the middle school. And then what would be left over? Would be proposed to use that leftover budget to fix the one at Lincoln program.
You just say yay for something coming in under bid.
Yeah.
Or under budget.
And, you know, when you be able to use some of the pieces we have there, so we don't have to replace some other things. It's allowed us to do both for the one price, which is nice. So. Anybody have any questions for Brett? If not, Paul? But for questions for Anita, her report? I'm not used to all the needs being built on her report on.
Me either.
Kudos,
You can't knock on wood.
Yeah.
It's a,
kudos to your attendance. Members, that's awesome.
for first 9 weeks, it's pretty good.
I appreciate the information, Anita. We'll move on to Jacqueline.
Shared the parent teacher conference turnout, technology update as well. We've been working on some pieces, but we will have Chris and Mark here in January to share that with you because I don't speak all that language, but it's the work they're doing, there's a lot of strategy to it and it takes time and they're getting there and it's been a little painful, but we're getting there. So, and part of it is, some of our updates and age of our devices have a pretty wide range, so. But they will be in here to share more in January. And then I also have on here, as it relates to our cardiac response drills, those went really, really well. We hit all 5 buildings and the board office that day. Super thankful to Alec Trumbath and his team for participating. It was just as good for them, I think. Had our outsider from Children's Mercy here to evaluate, and that was nice as well. It was really good for our staff. We timed them and kept track of all the different components of the plan and gave them their feedback. So they did a nice job. And then on the federal updates, that our Perkins money did successfully go from Department of Ed to Department of Labor and is now available to us. So we will be able to finish out those expenses for our CTE teachers. And then at this time, we don't have any other real updates. Nothing solid as far as next year goes for that future planning part, so.
In regards to the government stuff related to the federal, I think somebody asked a question. But it's, to my knowledge, is not impacting our funding at this time, so I haven't heard that we have anything to be concerned at regard, so.
I know I was filling out some reports, like there were still 2 or 3 reports we had to finish for Wakefield's grant from last year. And so I knew that some of the phone numbers I had, no one was there to answer, but for the reports that I was doing, it went fine, so I didn't have to call anyways, so those went through fine, so.
Anybody have any questions?
Oh, excuse me, Jacqueline, on the parent teacher conferences last month, did you have your results right? Are your results are they favorable to you on what came back on the responses?
Yeah, I thought, there was a couple of them higher than they have been in the past, and perhaps the next time I could even maybe in the spring show you like spring of 25 compared to spring of 26. And then there was a couple that were higher and a couple that were lower. Like the 2 high schools, that's higher than normal. I think that was the intentional invitation to come in and go over their IPS with them. So I think that was different. You know, a lot of times in the elementaries, we see that 95 to 100%. So just because that's kind of typical for elementary parents, so. And I don't know what conflicts could have been there too, but overall, looking at the whole group, yeah, that's where we usually are, but some were a little up and some were a little down.
Okay,
So.
all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Well, we move on to the bond discussion.
By yourself today, Maria?
I am,
What do you need to do for you? Would you like to plug in?
yes.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna sit down.
Hey, Maria,
You up
want
here,
to
you're
sit
gonna-
here?
Go right.
Yeah.
Would that-
No, you're
Can I plug in there?
No?
We can take that chair down that corner.
Yeah, I'll just sit right
You
here.
sit here.
Oh, yeah, take it down. That's better.
Tear it down.
Sure, let's just- Makes sense too. Here, let's just.
So complicated. Oh, okay. All right. Perfect. Glad to be back. Cause it's. That's. All right, well, thanks for having me back again. I have a recap of what we've done since September and then touching on the bond and then updates on the CMR process. So since the last board meeting, we've concluded the community survey and had our second community meeting. The release for the request for qualifications from the construction managers, that's also been sent out. And so we're here tonight. If you have something you want to move forward with on the bond election, the deadline for the March election is December 8th. So for that recap, we had two community meetings. At that first one, we focused the discussion around the different categories or scopes of work that was determined between the Plan A and the Plan B, and gathered feedback on how people prioritized these items. And so safety, security, and ADA were the biggest items. In the second meeting with the group, we got more into the scope of each building and included some cost information. So just some high level cost breakdown of what's included in each of those. With any bond that you do, that scope of work is going to have adjustments. Some items are going to cost more and some are going to cost less. That you have to have a plan or scope of work and then have contingency within that as well. And so this is what we shared with them and how that changes between Plan A and Plan B. We can come back to that if you have any specific questions about what's included or not. The other thing then in meeting two is we had them provide feedback on both of those plans and give separate both highlights and concerns for those two plans. So it was more specific in trying to clarify that we are really looking at those two plan configurations and trying to gather their feedback based off of those. Plan A had more highlights listed and some common themes I've put in bold or in green, but maintaining the existing buildings, and people like the shorter term and the lower cost of Plan A. Concerns were about being locked into a bond and flexibility. And Plan B with the 20-year, the concerns were primarily around the isolation of pre-K or how that layout could work over at Lincoln. After that meeting was over, we had the town hall meeting and had good attendance for that. And our feedback from them, we had papers to hand out where we were back to collecting concerns, highlights, and questions that they have around those topics. So we covered the two plans, but our feedback, just since it's a lot to digest in one sitting, gathered the feedback around the topics that
are consistent and also vary between the options. And their concerns were around expanding Lincoln. The highlights they had with, they like the security improvements, like the improved traffic at the middle school. And then most of their questions were about the district office and what that looks like or how that changes from one building to the next, or from one option to the next. The other summary of information I have for you is the community survey. I'm blown away by how much response you got out of this. I've 450 responses. I think that that's fantastic. This is the summary of how people identified with this, and they were able to select more than one, but 450 responses as of today. Collected some age range. They were all a voting age, so that's, I guess, positive. Valid, relevant respondents. I also gathered about where they were from. So I think in terms of, if you compare this to your population, it's probably pretty close to the number of voters you have in each location. The next question was gathering information about positive things that they've seen the district do. And I put in bold there just the themes about having strong culture, appreciated building leadership, liked the student opportunities and growth pattern or programs, and the CTE programs, dual credit classes, lots of comments about that. And the community, having a strong community, I think is fantastic and helpful, and technology and facility improvements as responsive for positive feedback from the district in the last 10 years. So we also had in this survey to take those same categories and then rank them in terms of priority. So again, safety and security improvements were at the top. This next slide is a little bit hard to read, but what this is doing is comparing how those survey of those categories compared in meeting one with the community group, and on the right is how it was with the survey responses. So the ADA items were ranked the second highest with the community group, but they fell some in the overall community survey. And some of the other things that jumped up on the scale was the modernized learning spaces and maintain as many buildings as possible. Any questions about this final slide? I thought it was just helpful to see how those things change when you have more input. For the question about, this one was really about Plan A and that scope of work with Plan A, and if you would support this Plan A scope of work. It didn't necessarily say Plan A, but had that description of it. It was 64% said yes, 11% was no, and then 25 were neutral. So good response out of Plan A. In the Plan B, with the same description of work, but then describing how that would change, it had 30% yes and 49% no. So the response was really more supportive for that Plan A and over the Plan B, which models the same information that we gathered from the community meetings and the feedback we gathered in that too. We asked about if there'd be information joining a committee and had pretty good response out of that. So that next step of going out and informing people that we have some interested in helping with that. And then how you access the survey, we had 48% from the email that went out to the district, and then 27% were from the newspaper. So I appreciate those that were able to respond to this, and it was a great idea to include getting that printed in the papers and having people able to respond that way. I think that was fantastic to get those additional pieces collected. So any questions about the meetings or the survey?
I don't have any questions on that information, but it's good information.
Yeah,
I'm glad we did that.
yeah, I thought it was great. You know, I think Friday we had 400 and then now we've got 450 that all turned in and all the paper copies report and everything, so.
Past experience, that's a pretty good.
Yeah. So a couple things, we talked about this last time, that to help a bond have the best chance at success is starting early and not letting a bond fall off. It just becomes a bigger ask. You can't, makes it more difficult to do the no tax increase. Having board support for something, even if you don't support all the items on there, if there's enough of it that you can support to allow the voters to have a choice in an election, is helpful. Engaging the community so that there wasn't like this whole plan and everything was just developed and but engagement through that. It's also important to remember that bonds are typically refinanced. This is something that we talked about at the second meeting with Piper Sandler, and how your bonds in the past have been refinanced here in the district for lower interest rates, and that is a very common path that just with a 15-year, you know, you could pay it off sooner with the conservative approach that they take to how they finance and figure the payment plan within that. Informing the community is important. I think you've had a great start with 450 people already interested and willing enough to respond to a survey. And then that capital outlay planning, that, you know, if there is an item that's not included in the bond scope, as a specific line item, that doesn't mean it's a no. It's just that you could pay for it in another way in that capital outlay. So just continue to prioritize the capital outlay for some of those items that maybe are less ideal for the community vote as a whole. This is another slide we touched on. I added a few more pieces. So determine to do a bond resolution. These are the 5 things that you really need to determine: that scope of work, the amount, and between the plan A and the plan B, it's a selection of one of those. The date of the election would be March 3rd if you have that resolution by December 8th. Have the walk-in election, and then that financing plan just means the 15-year, the 20-year. So if you continue with the scope of what you had in the plan A and the plan B, that's really the last pieces that would be needed to determine that. Or determine what you need for. This slide has the example ballot language. So this was put together with Piper Sandler and reviewed by their finance or their legal department to how that bond question is written. It is like all election questions written by attorneys that have a lot of parts and pieces in terms of how they break out the information, how they say things. You can get into more specifics, but generally we have the question stated like this, where you're able to address the items at each building, but then builds in some flexibility that you can determine what that is. Most of the communication from the bond is not necessarily like just through this, it's through those additional items like the plans that we had. I have an example flyer I can show you as well. But this would be something that would be a component of that bond resolution. So he's provided a plan A as well as a plan B for scope of work. This is a example flyer that a lot of times you want everyone to be informed, and so this needs to be
proofed and everything first, but it is a draft. But having something like this that can be put in the paper or handed out to all the students that they take home, and so that they have, that everyone's informed. So that's really, as a board, you want your patrons to be informed whenever they're voting, so,
Did you pass that around with everybody's understanding that's a draft,
yes.
okay? And, for us as a board, you know, to get an idea.
And then this was put together with the Plan A, but the plans still have some of the Plan B items, so this will be, once we know which version we're going with, that would be refined. The next piece that I have, if there's no questions on that, is about the construction delivery method. So we discussed last time and started the construction manager at risk process. So that was in the paper, and that RFQ was sent out starting November 5th. The next step is to collect the qualifications and then review them. So that would be, that's tentatively shown on there as November 20th. The process is to review those qualifications and then develop a short list of which contractors you would like to advance to that next stage. That committee or board would review those qualifications after that November 20th date, and then select them to move on to the next phase. After they're shortlisted, we'll have guided tours with them and then interviews. And so that would be a question for the board, if you all together want to be reviewing those and narrowing those down, or if you want to have a committee do that, or it's usually the same committee or board. I've done it both ways. A lot of times with the board, just before a board meeting or a special board meeting, to review those and have that review those. You want the same people reviewing the shortlist as doing the interviews.
So what is the day that you'll know how many there are and they have to have that stuff back to you?
So by November 20th, that's when they will have their qualifications submitted.
That's when they have to have, and then we'll know how many.
Yep.
Is there.
Yep.
Okay.
I've asked for digital and paper copy
Okay.
of their submission.
Okay.
So ideally it's,
And just to talk about the other thing is, I am fine as a board of 3 people working with HDK to narrow them down. If there's 3 people that, how everybody else feels for the initial narrowing down. You know, and Jeff, you have construction.
I think the whole board should do it.
Okay,
I mean, we're making a decision. I mean,
Mhm.
but, you know, we're gonna have to pick one at the end. We might as well see them all,
okay,
you know, as far as that goes.
okay.
I think we should narrow them down. I think we should interview them and figure out which one we all agree on and.
Okay.
I mean, we gotta do something. We haven't done anything from,
No,
you know.
So the tours are tentatively set up for December 8th. So we do the tours. And so ideally that is reviewed and shortlisted between November 20th and December 3rd. If that timeframe, in case everything doesn't work, we can
So
push that out.
if we're not gonna narrow down and say what we want on this bond until December 8th. And they're gonna do facility tours on December 8th. So how do they know what they're gonna be looking at if we don't have set what we wanna do?
So here is, I thought this would have got down and visited is, so this special meeting that we do, we will narrow that down.
And that's gonna be between now and December 8th,
I'm thinking December 1st.
okay?
Okay, we'll have everything from them. So I'm thinking we do our special meeting on December first. And that's when we narrow it down. The bond thing and approve the resolution for the county. On December first.
And then we do the interviews.
And so interviews would be after the tours.
After the tour on the way.
Yeah,
So then they interview, it says December 18th through January 9th.
Then we decide that night at the board meeting who we're gonna hire, or do we wait?
so then it has it where you would. I strongly recommend that you make a decision the night that you interview on who you want to go forward with. But then at your January 12th is when you
Actually hire.
do it at the board meeting.
So does December first work for everybody?
What day of the week is that?
It's a Monday.
I'm looking.
Andy, what'd you say?
What's that?
Okay.
Yes, for me.
Yes, for me.
Yeah. That's so fun.
So you do, Danny, what do you do? Okay, so, I'm gonna talk the word, you just a special meeting in
Yeah,
regards to the bond.
I was gonna set a special meeting for December 1st at 6 o'clock.
So I move we set a special meeting for December first at 6 o'clock for the, bond process.
And that's it, interview of,
And interview of,
Well, it would be.
oh, no, that's the 8th. I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's later, right?
Yeah, that's the 8th.
This is, that meeting on December 1st is to decide exactly what we're.
The scope of.
Right, and do the resolution, so it's really a general bond discussion, is that okay to put it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I move to have a special meeting December first at 6 P.M. For a general discussion on our bond.
Second.
There's a second, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Who wants the second?
I get this one, Andy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So then, Marie, do we need to go ahead and set another meeting for interviews, or what is your
Ideally,
recommendation
Yes,
there?
if you would be able to set another meeting for interviews, that would be,
So everybody that gets shortlisted goes on an interview.
Yep.
So
So they all
can we
come
do
to,
it before the meeting, like at 5 o'clock on a regular meeting, or how long will it take?
so.
If there's three.
Do three, you can interview, that's flexible on how long you want them to interview. 30 minutes for each one is really the shortest you can go, 45 minutes to an hour is also done.
we do all that on the 8th, and we do facility tour, have interviews in the afternoon, or is that complex?
The turnaround is, that's like a week turnaround for them, so that's a pretty quick turnaround. Cause they're gonna find out on the second who's shortlisted, and then they have to revise their fees and everything, yeah. They want to see it all before they
Sure.
put together their fees. Because that piece of it, so the day of the interview, they also submit their fees to the state, and the state reviews their fees and scores their fees. So,
Have you ever had it where the one the district picked that the state refused their fees
not refuse, but they score
and
it,
adjust?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what would be your window for interviews, so the board can maybe pick a date? from there?
So between then,
That says December 18th through January 9th,
yes,
Christmas break.
since you did the. You know, if you wanted to do it on the 12th, I mean, this was getting you where you could do the interviews, sleep on it, and then do it at the board meeting. But otherwise, before that January 12th board meeting would be. Would the 15th be too part of the turnaround for them? The 15th of December, that's Monday night. I think that would be okay, yeah, since we're gonna let them know. On the first or the second, yeah. And then-
That's 3 Mondays in a row.
Yeah. I think it's Christmas week,
That's what,
Christmas week.
yeah,
What's the first Monday in January?
yeah, that's it.
Then we meet 12.
We use the 12th. I was gonna say the 29th or the 5th.
Fifth is good with me.
Yeah. It's good with me too. Permitted.
Give us a chance. I mean, will they have information for us to look at or before the interviews?
That's not
Not
usually,
necessarily.
yeah.
Okay.
They have additional information, but it's normally provided at the
At the
interview.
interview.
Mhm.
I would think we start at 5. It's gonna take 45 minutes for each one.
Work for you.
Yeah, for 5:30. What works for you? 5:30?
It's a Monday, I can be here. Whenever. I won't have much going on by then.
So with 5 o'clock, we're really good. Okay,
How many will we interview? 3?
3.
3 to 5, so
So you got, figure 45 minutes with 15-minute break in between, so you're looking at 3 hours.
you could do
Right?
30 with 15-minute break in between and doing every 35 minutes.
Will you be here for that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So January 5th at 5 o'clock, is that what we're doing?
That's what I think, yeah.
Great. Do we have to make it?
Make a motion, call that special meeting.
So what are these who we're interviewing? What's their official term? What are they?
Construction manager at risk.
Construction manager
At risk.
at risk. That's a lot to say.
It's kind of like sticking your toe down there.
Okay, so I move. We set a special meeting for January 5th at 5 PM to interview the construction manager at risk for the bond. Second. In a second, all those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? When they go on the tours, are you all there and you?
No.
Okay, so no. Just making sure. Yeah. Don't miss this.
According to the time.
Oh, what time? Sorry on that one.
The second was 5 PM.
No,
The first was 6 PM.
Got it.
Do you have an estimated time on how long the shortlist process, is that gonna be an hour commitment, 2 hour, like, do you have any sense for how long those usually last?
I would say the 2-hour range.
Okay.
And I will have the
And you have a thing
scorecards,
to score
Yes.
them out.
yep. The rubric to use for that as well as the interview. We can-
So we're gonna do the short list on the first and decide what's on the bond on the first.
Yes,
So 2 hours for the short list. Okay. Might want to start at 3,
That's why we only get 3 applicants.
unless we only get 3 applicants. We got the short list already. Or 5, we can go as many as 5.
yeah.
Have you put any feelers out about this?
So that's why I was gonna pull up who I've sent it to. It has been sent to VHS, Construction, Icon, Napolts, Simpson, Universal, and Kindle Construction.
You don't mind but just where each one of those are, they say located. You know.
Good question. So VHS, I would.
Yeah, VHS.
Yeah, Icon is in Wabunsee County.
Okay.
Napolts and Simpson, I believe.
They've been here.
Yeah. Wichita. Universal, Wichita, Kansas City, and then Kendall and Topeka. Manhattan. If there's anyone that you know of that you want me to send it to, I'd gladly send it to whomever else as well. I was thinking we could actually just put it on the district website and then
I think that is good to put on the district website.
Yeah, they can access it that way as well.
From us.
Nope, those were the red dates for the latest things I had. Yeah, I'm excited about the feedback that we've gotten, the engagement. Participants in the community meetings, we were there, and saw that as well.
I don't know how you all feel, but I would like to. I mean, based off the feedback we got and things like that, I think it'd be smart to narrow it down to them. If we're ready to do that, then we can really spend our time that night on one option.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. It's the maintenance one's one we ought to do.
Right, based off the feedback and the,
We need to figure out what 88 things we want to do, and we need to
Right.
figure out what maintenance things we want to do.
does that take a vote, or anything to pick that one, Dusty? That's the way we're moving.
That's just the way you're. When we just have that.
Others, everybody feel good about that? I mean,
Yes.
by doing that way, we know when we show up for that meeting, that's, your thoughts and everything can go towards that. And prioritizing those types of things. So, very good. I feel good about it. Then like I say, we'll finalize it that night.
And I guess it's too, I mean, my feeling is if the maintenance deal and everybody wants more than what the 10.2 is,
We can discuss.
then we can discuss that part of going more than that.
Yeah.
To cover what people think we ought to
And
do.
you know, we had a list of things, something we'll discuss them and change them, but now I think is the time to plug some of the other ones into capital outlay. How you feel we could do that, then we can move them around, but let us see both of those that night. You think that's possible to do that? Not that some of the things that aren't on there, we may add others and take others off, but at least that'll let us see how that fits into the capital outlay plan with what we do and change.
I think that LED lighting thing is something that either considered in that or.
I agree. When I seen the turnaround and the payback in 4.5 years, I definitely agree, however, whether it's through capital outlay or bond, however, it needs to be.
I'm
in
not
there.
sure where we're cutting all the fixtures at, but there was quite a few fixtures that were getting eliminated.
Yeah,
I didn't really see that in that.
probably better.
I mean,
Little
I think
brighter
there- I think
lights,
there's
it makes
over- yeah,
sense.
but I think there's over 1,000 fixtures being eliminated.
Marie, can I send that to you? I don't.
It's like 58 pages long, you know, just.
But the basics at the beginning, but it's in writing. I mean, it really is.
They didn't, they're saying on the lighting, but not on the paper.
Right.
And that way, if they had questions, you guys can interpret that probably a lot better. than I
Okay.
can. So that way, if the board had questions on that, maybe, and maybe some ideas too on, like,
I thought maybe 10 years she would take.
Well, yeah, but it's only a $350,000 investment. I mean, 4.5, that's,
Yeah,
you know, I could see if it was $1 million investment, it
Right,
would take a lot
right.
longer, but
right.
for 350,000.
Everybody got that survey, got that information there, so.
I'll send it to you, because I did have some questions on like, how do you procure that or bid it or compare it to, you know, I don't know, we can
Yeah.
talk later, but
And that helps you know which plan we're gonna pursue this
Yep.
time, okay? Any other questions or anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, Tracy, on the lighting upgrade person's proposal that was sent out. I know at one time we discussed on Evergy that, you know, they had some type of language at one time, you know, where they would help out under certain circumstances, you know, it's government agencies, government.
So that, I was thinking, we're not on Evergy.
Wakefield.
The Wakefield is,
Wakefield.
okay,
And there was a $7,000 rebate they included in there from Evergy.
yeah.
In that light, in that LED.
I seen there's, in this proposal, there's a $7,872 rebate that was already, that they've already probably secured. So. And between now and then, there may be others that end up coming up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, take full advantage of everything that's possible.
But they're saying the net cost of $340,000 to do all that and have your money back in 4.5 years. I mean, that's an annual energy saving of 55 grand a year by doing this. I think that there's no doubt. We need to strongly consider that. Yep.
They had like 2 of their workers here for like 3 or 4 days, and they went to every building and looked at every light fixture. Like 68 pages or whatever. I couldn't believe how many hours spent doing it.
And it does say in there, I mean, it's part of it, they get up in there and wires gotta be replaced and stuff like that, but that's not part of the cost. But, that's at least the fixtures and just their labor replacing it. I agree, it definitely needs to be part of our discussion. Cause that is saving money for the future. So. Anything else on the bonds for tonight? Appreciate everybody's ideas and getting the schedule planned and set out and try to get some lecture time and get moving forward with it. And again, and all the people input survey that, I mean, that was a whole part of it, is to give the community opportunity. And so I've had a lot of people stop me and really appreciate that they got those opportunities to do that. That was allowed. So appreciate that and get it out. And, good choices. All right.
Thank you.
So here on the next meeting, we have the Jason and Craig be here for the next meeting, right? For their update on the next meeting. And then I did think, so the next meeting's already December. So what we'll do is we will start our annual superintendent evaluation. I think that's on December. We'll start that process. Okay. The next one. Anything else that comes to mind? If not, we'll take a short break here and then we'll come back.
So the rest of it's executive session.
Oh, the rest of the meeting, we get back to all executive session. So just so you know, people.
Change direction.
I know.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll improve our spelling.
Have a safe one going back.
Drive safe, watch for deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say avoid them.
I only saw 4 last night coming home from work. That was at 11 p.m., 10 p.m.
I bet I see 10 or 12 each time I go to the bar. I mean, it's really strange. This many, I mean, I've only seen a few this time of year, but they're.
But they look
There's
good.
A lot of.
Oh, if I was a hunter, I'm like, geez, like I want to stop just because.
My daughter took a picture yesterday. It was an 8-point buck in her backyard by the swing set, like looking in your. Wow.
They are impressive.
That's in Manhattan.
Yeah, that drive on Broughton Road to Manhattan after a shift, especially nights or.
I always drive the kids and it's scary.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It is.
We need to go into executive session to discuss student matters. Is that not okay with me as well? Just get knowledge.
That's that certified, school employee. So the first year that you're. Somebody. On the other side.
Your houses are coming along. I was looking at it when I drive on that road.
Yeah, it's listed now. And pictures.
You're not gonna live there?
Pictures are out. No, I'm not gonna, you know, where we're at. And one of the things that I've enjoyed since I've been back is a couple nights a week, it was somewhere you chance to go and play golf with the folks. And where we're at, there's not a better location and so.
No.
As long as we're playing golf, I think. we'll
They've got
stay.
it.
Is it the second half sale?
But it is.
I just need to know where.
It's like a pea cobbler.
Tee shot on 8.
It's the first one.
Oh, it's the first.
Very first one.
I think there's delivery doors. I just didn't like
You
it.
have to turn, listen.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'll just automatically face it.
I found golf balls.
Dusty.
Where they
They
ship.
come off their club, it's just straight.
Oh, I've helped
You-
people drive tractors.
It's
by there.
a peach-
You get
it's a
bouncing
fruit
and
cobbler.
stuff.
If you don't like.
I don't know.
Got
I
it.
played
It'd be great. I should come visit the folks, that's their entertainment. They get on the cart, come down that ditch and find golf.
I played in the orange black pack tournament this year. They let us.
Did you remember who your teacher was?
Women's.
Oh, yeah.
So I beat my son, Preston, and heck, we were in the goalie right in front of the.
I was gonna say.
Malone conjures up any image there, probably
Ty
accurate.
Kissinger.
Miss Flaherty was the one who instilled that love of writing for me. Mrs. Mounds for math.
That's where they teed off. I said, I'll just sit right there in the cart. All the big shot.
So did you finish the basement then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice. It's expensive to do all that, you know.
Yeah, but that's a good place for somebody that wants a country and have that kind of, cause that pond goes,
Yeah, they go with it, fun,
Yeah.
but, yeah, the pictures are there, and so I said, any of the classes or any of the people who've done work on it, and the school just want to come out, and see that all they gotta do is let me know, or there is an open house Saturday morning at 9:30 to 11, and those students that work on it, or anybody want to come out and see it, because what that can become is, you know, it's a awfully nice house.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And you say, what's the date or whatever now?
Saturday from 9:30 to 11, Sunday from 1 to 2:30 on Sunday, also. So,
who's got it, who'd you list?
Bragg Memorial.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
But
I'll
it's
have to look
one
at it and see.
multi-listing, you know, it'll be on the multi-listing thing, but that's who's got it. So,
There's lots of vehicles, I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna sell them.
It's just got a front porch and put a front porch on it.
The 800,000 one didn't, but
But the
one
wood looks like
640.
beadboard and stained and that underneath of it, you know.
Mhm.
The old banker's house.
That was tonight, I was like,
Sold for.
that looks
Might
nice.
change your mind.
Looks nice. I know, I think I made the folks feel bad because I said that, President, I said, well, if they told me they didn't want to play golf anymore, we'd be moving.
You know,
You know? Of course, they're like, listen, if you're yours out there, we'll go. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Your vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
Lived on this.
Winter when you can't go.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's this week.
My house, so I can tell her that.
I need you and your wife on the.
There's one
that.
down the street, that's the place where I grew up.
But,
You do it.
had it staged, you know, found a company in Manhattan that does that really
Hank
reasonable.
Steckman's wife.
So thought that would be a good idea, just.
So just have 2 bedrooms upstairs, right? When
Yeah,
you,
two up and two down.
oh, 2 down, okay.
Yep,
What else is
Does that
down?
include the shop?
a big living area.
Just
And
the
then a
house?
big
The house
living
and big old
Okay.
carport
It's down there.
It's on a corner lot.
So,
Then the house
With a
behind
walkout
it,
from the
there's a house
living
down
area.
at the
yeah,
edge.
yeah, the walkout.
So if you went
that
took a
walkout
right,
area
you'd come out
covered by the deck up above.
Mhm.
The deck will be on.
That house down in the
By,
hole, I think it's
by
listed
open
for
house.
360 million. maybe.
That's the basement.
Well, that's just Jerry
So I got a big
Patterson's
wet
house.
bar area and the
Just
living
sold for
area in the
380.
basement. You
Mm.
know. So,
But, you know,
like I said, there's
all
pictures on
oak cabinets,
Zillow
oak
or
flooring,
Reno,
oak,
oak, so.
oak trim,
Yeah,
oak,
yeah, yeah.
oak.
Yeah,
No,
in the
I mean,
basement, it's a
Well,
propane
if you're buying a
fireplace,
Tex Banker's house, it's probably.
propane cooktop. and,
Didn't need updated.
No,
Electric fireplace upstairs.
but he passed away.
Yeah.
She was
So-
a Seneca.
Yeah, all those little things, but.
That gas stove will get. I would have not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like
Lose
the cabinets and
electricity and
vanity
you
were,
at least good.
we're all custom made, all the cabinets are made. Okay, got everybody here?
Yep.
And thank you. All right, so we'll resume the meeting. And, I move, go into executive session to discuss personal pursuant to the non-elected personnel exemption under KOMA and open meeting shall resume at 7:30. The executive session should include the board, superintendent, and council. Second, all those in favor? Carry 7-0.
Good, yeah.
Oh, I am, I had something off my. I made chili for lunch and I think. I went, I. That's that okay? I just don't wanna risk. It's something to eat late or what?
Yeah.
I haven't heard.
I mean, it's fine with me.
Okay, we'll resume the regular scheduled meeting and, I moved to go into executive session to discuss student matters pursuant to the non-elected, student matters exception from KOMA. The open meeting shall resume at 7:36. The executive session should include board, superintendent, and council.
Second.
You got a second? All those in favor? Motion carries.
I'm gonna lean in like here and I'm blocking. Laughing.
Thanks for. Forward for this different thing, but eval files. Disciplining the student. And school refusal, but I'm just. Between the private rock and public. No, she's the first. Got that been covered for me for 2 hours. Yeah.
Oh, that's on his place?
Now, it's about 2 miles away.
Oh, no, he's had a lot of rovers.
Oh.
Okay. Regular meetings back in session. Personnel report. Any questions on that? I move to approve personnel report, including supplemental updates as presented.
Like,
A second, any discussions? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. And I believe that's everything. I move to adjourn the meeting. A second, all those in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.